well, why shouldn't, like, I don't get, what does it got to do with me? I'm not gay, I'm straight. But you know what? I mean, okay, here's what I love to throw out. If your religion, if your religion tells you that gay is abomination, whatever, then it also tells you that your God is infallible. And if God is infallible, then obviously he wanted gay people, or she, or it, or whatever your God is. Because God doesn't make mistakes, right? Right? So you can't have it both ways. You can't. Go ahead, Phil. Sorry.
Well, at least one thing that we agree is that I'll tell you what, the change that I've seen as a hardcore Republican for all the years that I have voted. Now, with regards to the gay thing, I have a all four of my children are straight by.
Yeah, you know what, dude? Sorry to interrupt, Phil. You know what, dude? Yeah, the Bible's pretty freaking clear about gays in Lactivius. It's also pretty clear about your eating lobster or shrimp, because it's in Lactivius too. And you know that if you've ever needed to, or ever going to have to wear glasses, you will not be welcomed in the altars, in the pews of a church. And you also know what else? Um, did you sacrifice your ox this week on the Sabbath? Do you have the ox ready to sacrifice it on the altar? It can be a little smelly. Neighbors have complained that the ox can be a little smelly when you sacrifice it. Um, there's a lot of things in the Bible, okay? Now, if they're to be taken literally,
Let me step in on this one.
all right, go, Phil.
Old Testament, Old Testament. Okay, you're saying that you're.
Well, what do you mean if I don't know it? Tell me what I said that isn't true. And then if you want to say, "Oh, that's Old Testament," then if it doesn't count because it's Old Testament, then Lactivius doesn't count either, which is Old Testament about you eating lobster and shrimp, which is right up there with being gay. Okay? Whatever happened to forgiveness and love and not and he who cast the first stone? What happened to that? And I apologize, Phil. Go ahead.
What I'm saying is, Dude 11 is talking about. Right? So therefore, you accept. Wrong?
No, you're right. Lactivius. It's actually L-E.
Leviticus.
Oh, okay, sorry. I can admit when I'm wrong. It is Lactivius. I thought it was I thought it was spelled with an E though, not an I. I thought it was L-E, Lactivius. But anyway, that's irrelevant. Go ahead, Phil.
Well, no, the point is that he's using the Bible like any religious person. Well, let's look at the fact that you've got the King James Version, you've got.
Yeah, and that's another question, eh, Phil? Which Bible?
Which Bible are you reading?
Yeah, which one do you mean? The New Testament, the Quran, the Torah, the Wiccan?
Historically speaking, are you?
I mean, which religion are you even talking about?
Religion, the Vulgate. My point, dude is 9/11. What Bible are you reading? And are you?
Well, I mean, Bibles. Okay, I just want to address when he says Bible. Do you mean King James? James? Which version? Do you mean the New Testament, the Old Testament? Do you mean BC, AC? I mean, there's just a cornucopia. What about the Gnostics? What about? I mean, you just walked into a minefield here, because Phil happens to be a member of a society. Phil, do you want to tell them, or do you? That's something private you prefer?
Research Society that goes back, and basically what we've done is we looked at the fact that all of the various pagan faiths that you by history proven to be a pagan.
Yeah, it's not true. It's the winter solstice.
The winter solstice, December 25th.
Well, and you know the reason for that Christians adopted a lot of pagan holidays so that when they celebrated, they wouldn't stand out. And that's a fact.
Exactly. And then, come on. Bottom line is we're reading versions that have acted.
Yeah, like so many people have messed with this book.
You can't disprove the
And you can't and then you have to bring in the whole Constantine thing of people who decided what was going to go in the Bible and what wasn't, and therefore we get into the Gnostics, because if you're going to believe that Peter and Paul were true, then there is a gospel of Judas, there is a gospel of Mary Magdalene. These are called the Gnostics. So, I mean, could you be a little more specific, please? No? Well, no, because he can't back up his argument.
No, you can't back it.
But you know what? I'll say this to you, dude. I'll say this much to you, dude. You have a right to believe in what you want. What you don't have a right is to try to tell us we're wrong. You can say, I can disagree without being disagreeable. In other words, you're entitled to believe anything you like. I may agree or disagree with it, but I will always, always say you have a right to believe it, whether I think it's right or not. And I just only asked for the same courtesy in return. And I think that's at a very basic level. Okay. Dude has said, then ask yourself this. Gonna have to speed it along. We have to make the donuts in about 1:30. Are the caps code for... Yeah, usually when you use caps, you're yelling at people, but... Do you think the direction the country is heading with Do you think the direction the country is heading with Obama is going to be good? Okay. The short answer is yes, and I will explain it more on the other side of this video, because it's more or less time to make the donuts. So we'll be right back on the other side of this video, and I will answer the age-old question: do you think that the direction of the country is heading with Obama is going to be good?